Hey guys, so welcome to Intro to Programming. This is going to be my Python course. Um, I really recommend Python for any beginner. It's easy to learn, it's dynamic, it's used in a lot of applications, and you can do a whole lot with it. It's a general purpose language, so you can really do just about anything you want to do in it. Um, as you dive deeper into programming, you'll learn different programming languages that have different functions, and you'll see why later on in your coding path why Python is such a good language, why it's used in a lot of applications. Um, but just jumping right into it, you're going to want to open up a web browser and just type in Python 3. And looks like I misspelled it. Go to this link right here, python.org. Click on that one and find the downloads button. Now, I'm using Windows, so I'm going to be downloading it for Windows. Obviously, if you're on Mac or Linux, they have other download links, and just click on whatever operating system you're using. I would recommend downloading Python 3 and not Python 2. 3 is the updated version. They're on 3.9 right now. And really, any tutorial you're going to watch nowadays is going to be Python 3 tutorials. So if you download Python 2, your programs might not work. Might not work the same as the tutorial you're watching. So go ahead and click this. I already have it downloaded, but it shouldn't be very large. So it should just take a few seconds. Install that, and then next, you're going to want to download a Python IDE. This is where you're going to be writing your code. So a lot of people use PyCharm, a lot of people use Sublime. I'm going to be using Mu. It's pretty simple, and if you make Raspberry Pi projects, this comes standard on a Raspberry Pi, and that's what I've been working on recently. I kind of like it, but just click this link right here. And it shows a little video of what's going on. You're just going to want to download this. It's just like Python, it's not very large. And go ahead and install that. I already have mine installed, so I'm just going to type in Mu Editor, double click that, and here we have our IDE. If you don't have yours set up yet, you can pause the video, but it already has a tab for you, so we can just delete that. And the first code we're going to run is a print statement. And just go ahead and add parentheses after this. A print statement is a basic function in Python. So when you get more advanced into coding, you're going to be using a lot of functions. And a function is going to be the function name and then parentheses. This parentheses right now calls a function. Print is a built-in function of Python. So Python comes preloaded with a lot of pre-built functions. So if you've never coded before, it makes it very easy for you to start. This is why it's so beginner friendly, because before I got into programming, I thought everything was from scratch. I thought it was just ones and zeros. This right here is an example of a pre-built function. And what print is going to do is it's going to print whatever you type in the parentheses out. So For instance, let's add some quotations, and let's just type in hello world. Now, if we save this, let's just save it as hello world.py. Anytime you write a Python script, you're going to want to save it as .py. This tells your computer that it is a Python script. And we're just going to save that. And when we run, it's going to print out hello world. So this right here is your console. This is your computer. So it runs this as your code. So anytime you type code up here, this is going to be the result of the code. Right now, it's not too complicated, but you see it's just going to print something out. So later on, one core functionality of this is, let's say we have a function later on that's going to do something. Well, if we don't know whether it's working or not, we can print hello world. To find out if this function's working and we call this function, it will print out this in the console. So we see, okay, that function works. This is a really good tool for beginners. It's a simple function. It's your first function. And we'll get into functions later on. But another thing you need to know is this right here, these quotations, that tells it that it's a string. So there's different variables in Python. There's numbers and strings. And there's also booleans. So because these are words in here, you want to tell it that it's a word. And also with the print function, if it's not a word, let's say we want to print out 2 plus 2. Stop that. We'll save it. And then we'll run. It prints it to our computer. And this would be an example of something that's not a string. So these are int variables, referred to as integers. But there you go. There's your first script out of many in Python. And I hope you enjoyed.